I am Orhan Gazi, the second ruler of the Ottoman Beylik. Born around 1281, I was raised in a time of constant strife and opportunity. My father is Osman Gazi, the first ruler of the Ottoman Principality, who founded the Ottoman Beylik next to the boundaries of the weakening Byzantine Empire. I became Bey, the governor, upon his passing in 1324, and over my nearly 4 decades of rule, I dedicated myself to expanding our lands, establishing a stable administration, and laying the foundations for what would one day become a great empire. As a young man, I learned the arts of war and governance under my father's guidance. The Ottomans were surrounded by the Byzantine Empire to the west and the Anatolian principalities to the east. We were few, but my father believed our faith, courage, and discipline would see us through. My first major victory came in 1326, when we conquered Bursa, which became our capital and a symbol of our growing strength. Bursa was strategically significant and prosperous, located in the heart of Anatolia. Establishing it as our capital allowed us to project power and expand economically. I developed Bursa, building mosques, markets, and fortifications, transforming it into a city worthy of our rule. Here, I founded a mint and issued the first Ottoman coins, marking the beginning of a new era of stability and self-sufficiency for our people. In 1331, we set our sights on the city of Nicaea, an ancient center of Byzantine Christianity and a stronghold that represented the last Byzantine grip on Bithynia. After a lengthy siege, Nicaea surrendered, and I took great care to govern with fairness, respecting the city's Christian heritage. Many of Nicaea's churches were preserved, and I welcomed scholars to settle there, making it a center of learning. By incorporating Nicaea, we demonstrated that Ottoman rule could be just and that we were not conquerors alone, but builders of a stable and inclusive society. The fall of Nicomedia in 1337 marked the completion of our conquest of Bithynia. With this city under our control, we now dominated the region, creating a strong base for future conquests and ensuring that the Byzantines had little influence left in Anatolia. My goal was not merely conquest, but stability. And with these cities under our control, we could look beyond Anatolia to the lands of Thrace across the Bosphorus. In addition to conquests and administration, I took great pride in establishing mosques, schools, and charitable institutions. I founded the Orhan Mosque in Bursa, creating a center for worship and education. My goal was to build a society that valued both faith and learning. I also founded one of the first Ottoman madrasas in Iznik, attracting scholars and students, making knowledge and piety pillars of our culture. My life was dedicated to both the sword and the pen, to conquest and consolidation, to faith and justice. My legacy is one of continuity, of transforming Osman's dream into reality, laying the foundations of a state that would rise as an empire and endure for centuries.
Orhan Gazi was the second ruler of the nascent Ottoman state, succeeding his father, Osman I, in 1324. His reign marked a pivotal era in Ottoman history, as the state transitioned from a small principality into a burgeoning empire. Orhan's leadership was characterized by military conquests, administrative reforms, and diplomatic ingenuity, which laid the groundwork for the Ottoman Empire's future expansion. Orhan Gazi assumed leadership at a time when the Ottomans were consolidating their territories in northwestern Anatolia. His early years were devoted to fortifying his father's conquests and strengthening the Ottoman foothold against Byzantine resistance. Unlike his father, whose domain was a loose collection of frontier tribes, Orhan established more centralized control, organizing his forces and administration into a cohesive structure. One of the hallmarks of Orhan's reign was his military success. He led numerous campaigns that expanded Ottoman territory, particularly in Anatolia and the Balkans. Shortly after becoming Bey, Orhan captured Bursa, a strategically vital Byzantine city. Bursa's fall marked the first major urban conquest for the Ottomans and established it as the first Ottoman capital. Before its capture, Bursa was a well-fortified Byzantine city, serving as an important administrative and military hub in northwestern Anatolia. It was a center of commerce and craftsmanship, known for its silk production and trade routes connecting Anatolia to the Balkans and the Aegean coast. Controlling Bursa meant securing a key economic stronghold and establishing a firm base for further Ottoman conquests. Since the early 1300s, Osman I, Orhan's father, had been engaged in a prolonged siege of Bursa. However, due to the city's strong fortifications and Byzantine reinforcements, a direct assault was difficult. Instead of launching a full-scale attack, Osman and later Orhan employed a patient siege strategy, gradually cutting off Bursa from the rest of the Byzantine world. The Ottomans systematically took control of the surrounding fortresses and strongholds, including Ulubat, Kite, and Atranos, effectively isolating Bursa from receiving reinforcements or supplies from other Byzantine territories. As the siege tightened, the Byzantine commander of Bursa, Evronos, realized that resisting was futile. Rather than face a brutal sack of the city, he negotiated a peaceful surrender with Orhan Gazi. The Battle of Pelekanon was another significant confrontation between Orhan's forces and the Byzantine army under Emperor Andronikos III. The Ottomans triumphed, effectively curbing Byzantine attempts to reclaim lost territories in Anatolia. This victory further secured Ottoman dominance in the region. Fought on 10 to 11 June 1329, near the town of Pelekanon, modern-day Maltepe, Turkey, this battle marked a turning point in Byzantine-Ottoman conflicts, solidifying the Ottomans' dominance in northwestern Anatolia and signaling the decline of Byzantine power in the region. Following Orhan Gazi's capture of Bursa, the Ottomans continued their expansion, targeting Byzantine strongholds in Iznik, Nicaea, and Izmit, Nicomedia, two of the last remaining Byzantine outposts in northwestern Anatolia. Recognizing the strategic importance of these cities, Byzantine Emperor Andronikos Palaiologos decided to take action. Unlike previous Byzantine rulers who had largely ignored the growing Ottoman threat, Andronikos III personally led a military campaign to stop Orhan's advances and reclaim lost territory. His objective was to relieve the besieged city of Iznik and push the Ottomans back from the region. In the summer of 1329, Andronikos III and his general, John Kantakouzenos, assembled a Byzantine army and marched from Constantinople towards Iznik, determined to break the Ottoman siege. However, Orhan Gazi, having learned of the approaching Byzantine force, prepared to intercept them before they could reach their target. The battle took place near Pelekanon, a strategically located town on the northern shore of the Sea of Marmara, between Constantinople and Iznik. Orhan Gazi carefully positioned his forces on the surrounding hills, taking advantage of the terrain to control the battlefield. The Byzantine army, numbering around 4,000 to 5,000 soldiers, slightly more than the Ottoman forces, suffered heavy casualties, and many soldiers either perished in battle or were captured. After realizing the battle was lost, Andronikos and his remaining forces fled back to Constantinople, abandoning any hope of reclaiming lost territory in Anatolia. Orhan Gazi's expansion into the Marmara region was a crucial phase in the growth of the Ottoman state. The capture of Iznik, Nicaea, in 1331 and Izmit, Nicomedia, in 1337 marked the final collapse of Byzantine power in northwestern Anatolia, allowing the Ottomans to consolidate their control over the region and establish a strong foundation for future conquests. Iznik, ancient Nicaea, was one of the most important cities in Byzantine history. It had been a center of religious and political significance, hosting the First Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, where Christian doctrine was formalized. Strategically, it was a major Byzantine stronghold in Anatolia, acting as a defensive barrier against invasions from the east. After the Battle of Pelekanon, Orhan intensified the blockade of Iznik, preventing supplies and reinforcements from reaching the city, and eventually in 1331, the city officially surrendered to Orhan Gazi without a major battle, following the same pragmatic and strategic approach used in Bursa's capture. Izmit, ancient Nicomedia, was another key Byzantine city in the Marmara region, serving as a crucial link between Constantinople and the empire's former territories in Anatolia. The city had been an important Roman and Byzantine military center and was home to an imperial palace used by Byzantine emperors. Following his success at Iznik, Orhan launched a siege against Izmit in 1333, lasted for nearly 4 years, gradually tightening control around the city, and in 1337, the Byzantines, realizing they could not expect reinforcements from Constantinople, agreed to surrender the city to the Ottomans. Orhan Gazi's reign was transformative for the Ottoman state. His conquests doubled the Ottoman territory, and his administrative reforms provided a solid foundation for future expansion. His strategic alliances and military victories weakened the Byzantine Empire, paving the way for the eventual Ottoman conquest of Constantinople in 1453. Orhan's vision and leadership marked the transition from a small frontier principality to a centralized and structured state. His legacy endures as one of the key architects of the Ottoman Empire, a polity that would go on to dominate large swaths of Europe, Asia, and Africa for centuries.